like the Palo Santo.
Hi, welcome back.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Tired, but that's all right. I'm excited for today's episode.
Oh, really?
How are you? Yeah, very excited. You'll see in a minute.
Okay.
How are you doing, though?
I'm good. I actually feel quite awake today.
Nice.
I managed to have a
You're doing
shower,
well.
get properly ready. Good chats this morning.
Nice. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm M.
True. For all those new listeners out there, I'm A.
And this is Chérie. It's a process. Our little safe corner of the internet, I guess. And because there's a lot going on today in today's episode, I kind of just want to start straight into it. So let's start with the pocket magic, and then I'm just going to go straight into what we're doing today.
Okay.
Pocket magic.
Today's pocket magic is it's actually a tea that I've loved drinking for years now. And I also introduced it, to you. And I mean, you have a whole story with it because you haven't been able to find it. And recently you came to me and you were like, oh my God, I found a shop and I can actually buy it here in Vienna.
Yeah, I was so excited.
It's actually, some of you might know this, called Love Tea, and it's by Pukka. When I'm feeling in a certain mood, I just need a bit of a comfort, a hug, a tea. I did grow up in England. Tea's a part of the heritage over there. So all you international listeners, don't be like, oh, teas can't give you hugs. Anyway, it's a herbal tea made with rose, chamomile and lavender. It's also starting to get cold. I feel like tea weather is coming in. It's that perfect combination of good taste, not too herbally and healthy.
Yeah, and not too fruity.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like there was either like the really herbal teas or the really fruity teas. And I felt like this one really was like the sweet spot in between.
And like another big seller, when I first saw it in the shop, was it's bright pink. It's called Love Tea. And it's not called like some like, women's health or something. It's just called Love Tea and it's bright pink. And you see it every time I see it in the shop. I'm like, oh yeah.
It's very wholesome.
Yeah, it just gives you that kind of, feel good vibe. That's what I get from it. I don't know. Maybe you guys can try it and let us know in the comments what you think.
Definitely very wholesome. And if you are in Vienna, you can get it at Naschmarkt, little marketplace. That's where I found it because I've been looking for it everywhere. But Naschmarkt has it. And in Paris, you can get it at the...
you can get it anywhere in most
like
organic,
health shops, grocery, organic
health food shops, organic shops. You can get it in most of them. Yeah,
this is not sponsored, by the way.
True.
I mean, if Pukka ever wants to give us money, we'll take it. But this is currently not sponsored. This is just we genuinely love this tea.
Yeah.
And it's just a very wholesome tea that, it's just, it's good. Yeah. So that was today's pocket magic. Maybe you already have a cup of tea in hand and you can kind of cozy up on your couch because I have a very short story to tell. You ready?
I'm ready. Let me just have a sip of my tea.
All right, have a sip of your tea. Okay. So, the year is 1987. It's an unusually hot and dry autumn day in Sussex, England. A young man falls asleep in the middle of an oak forest. On waking, he finds himself encircled by 3 adders, venomous snakes. For over an hour, neither serpent nor man stir so much as an inch. Until eventually, one by one, the snakes vanish back into the dark, lush undergrowth from which they emerged. My name is Richard Rudd, and I was that young man, and shortly after that terrifying encounter, I inexplicably began to experience visions. Turning away from a career in a highly reputable family wine business, I took the road less traveled and set off on a global quest to try and find answers to the questions that now burned inside me. It took 25 years before the visions came into a sharp focus. One day, finally, everything became synthesized inside me. all the systems I had studied, and all the teachers I had learned from. A vast book just came pouring through me, and it united all these different strands of teaching into a single stream of consciousness, a synthesis that I call the Gene Keys.
Okay. First of all, whoa. What's going on? Like, I suppose not what's going on. Who's Richard Rudd?
Who's Richard Rudd?
And what are Gene Keys?
And what are Gene Keys?
And why are there
Exactly.
snakes?
And why are there snakes? That I'm not quite sure of. I think I'm just going to leave that story as it is because I didn't find much more information on that. But today's topic is Richard Rudd, or specifically his teachings, which are the Gene Keys, or his philosophy, as one could call it as well. And Richard Rudd is an Englishman, as you can tell, Sussex, England. And yeah, I don't know, something happened. I mean, this happened to him. This is what he says happened to him with the snakes, and these visions started coming to him. And through those, he created this idea of the Gene Keys. Gene Keys, by the way, the spelling is Gene, and then another word is Keys.
Yeah, I used to think when you've mentioned Gene Keys to me a couple of times, and I always used to think, yeah, Gene Keys, obviously some French man, Gene Keys, weird surname, but you know, it happens.
It's true, you always thought it was a person.
Yeah. And then a couple months ago, you're like, no, it's a philosophy, and I'm like, by Gene Keys. And you're like, no, that's. I'm like, okay.
No, by Richard Rudd.
There we go.
So he wrote multiple books on this as well. But to kind of grasp this, I brought you a rough definition. I really broke it down because it's a lot of heavy words and kind of tried to make sense of this definition. The Gene Keys are an inner journey whose purpose is to transform our core beliefs about ourselves, thus raising our lives onto a whole new level of awareness. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So there are 64 Gene Keys, and they operate on a spectrum. So each of them starts from a low frequency, which is called the shadow pattern, also understood or can be understood as victimhood, the darker side of each Gene Key. Then it moves to a higher frequency, which is called the gift. So if you move through the shadow, you end up in the gift or the creative genius. And then you move through that to the highest frequency known as the siddhi, or in other words, the enlightened awareness. I guess in woo-woo terms, enlightenment. I guess you could put it as that. The idea is that each Gene Key has its own patterns to break through. And you contemplate on each of them and apply the knowledge to your own life to then slowly but surely shift the patterns you've been living, and specifically those that don't serve you anymore. It's hard to make an example of this, and I hope this is kind of making sense. But the idea is that also each of these 64 Gene Keys can and should be contemplated by everyone. I guess another way of describing it is that there's philosophers out there and ideas, and if you have anything to do with those, or if you're interested by those, you read their books, you read their words, and you contemplate on what that means and how it resonates and what shifts you could maybe make in your life to, you know, apply these ideas and philosophies.
So do I have 64 Gene Keys in my life, or how does it work?
No, so everyone has an individual chart. You can obviously contemplate all of them, and everyone should probably, because they're all fascinating. But you do have your own chart, a little bit like astrology or human design, if you know something about that. But the idea is it takes your birthday and your birthplace and creates a chart for you. And you only have I don't remember exactly how many, but you have a handful of Gene Keys that manifest specifically in your life. And you might even have the same one as someone else in your chart, but because of where the placement is, it manifests slightly differently than this other person who has it as well. It gets very complex. This chart is incredibly complex, and I personally don't even fully understand it. And it would probably take a lifelong process to fully grasp all of it. And Richard Rudd's philosophies, it's it's crazy. There's a lot to it. But I would encourage, if you are interested in this, I would encourage everyone to kind of go and make their own chart. It's for free on the website. I believe the website is genekeys.com. I'm going to add it to the description as well. And you can kind of click through it and click through the different gene keys that you have in your chart and in your life, and see if it resonates. It's a very interactive website. It's all for free. It's super easy to navigate. If you then want the book and like more deeper knowledge, eventually you have to pay for it, but you can get a lot for free. I'm curious to see what
the starter, right? To start you off.
Yeah, to start you off, to
understand on the website.
Yes.
And gives you the core, the base information. And then if you're more interested, you can obviously take your studies deeper.
Exactly. With the book, he has many books with different things online. You can get a lot of information for free though. So it's really like, go and get it if you want it, it's there. Yeah, so the chart itself is very, very unique. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like an astrological chart. It doesn't look like a human design chart, but they do have things in common and they do kind of overlap a little bit here and there. But the Gene Keys chart is made up of 3 sequences. Each of these sequences has different spheres. I also call them bubbles because I always thought they were like little bubbles.
They look like bubbles.
They look like bubbles. They're officially called spheres, but bubble sounds cuter. And these 3 sequences have different bubbles to them, and there's different colors. So beginning with the green sequence, which is the activation sequence, which is made of 4 bubbles, and they're the outer, they create a diamond shape and the outer rim of the chart. Then there's the red sequence, which is called the Venus sequence, and it's towards the bottom of the chart. And lastly, there's the blue sequence, which is also called Pearl sequence, and it makes up the top part of the chart. And they each represent parts of our lives. They have very specific connections to each other. So the different spheres have like lines connecting them. That also means something. And yeah, there's a lot. there's hours and hours and hours of information here that I don't even fully have a deeper understanding of yet.
I think
I'm still learning it. I'm still trying to figure it out, still reading into it, only here and there. So I'm no expert, but it is fascinating. And I actually brought our charts today because we created our charts a while ago. I'm not going to go into them in detail, but I do want to share the fact that we have a few numbers in common. There's a few gene keys that we have the same. So we have the 51st, the 63rd, and the 25th gene key in common. We do have them in slightly different positions in our chart. So they mean slightly different things for the both of us, the way they manifest. But I do find it really fascinating that on some level we have very similar things to overcome.
I mean, sorry, can I interrupt?
I just wanted to say that I love how it kind of balances. We kind of balance each other out in that sense. Yeah, go for it.
I suppose that balancing each other out is we've had that before. A couple months ago, we did a human design reading, and there as well, our charts were very complementary of each other. You had are they chakras or are they energy points?
I think they're gates. I don't know the language. I don't know the language of human design.
I'm even worse when it comes to this type of language. But yeah, we kind of complement each other in the way that our gates or chakras or energy points. Anyone who does human design, let us know the right names. But yeah, it's all very complementary, and you have kind of things defined that I don't, but it's all very mirroring of each other, and I think that's quite funny. And again,
there's a big balance there.
Yeah, now again, when we did the Gene Keys chart, there's the very similar things that kind of balance each other out in our relation, friendship, really.
Yeah. And I think we can also learn a lot from each other, which we already have. I think that's been one of the coolest thing about our friendship, and also living together in Paris. There's always been moments where we were able to sit each other down and go, there's a learning process here that we need to go through. And I think it's made us closer and closer and closer, and more understanding of each other and the things we go through, and understanding also how to help each other through those.
Yeah.
And these charts we already knew this before any of these readings, but these charts just reflect those. And I think it's really cool to see that.
Yeah.
That it's almost written in the stars.
Yeah. I mean, that was the funniest. I think the first time we saw it was when we did the human design, and it was kind of like, yeah, I've always kind of felt that, but having it written down, that's really bizarre. It's so funny that there's so many similarities.
And the person doing the reading didn't know us very well at all. She knew me a little bit, but she didn't know you at all. And she didn't know us together at all. And she was saying these things, and we were looking at each other like, yeah, okay, I do that. Yep, okay, she does that. Yep, we both do that. It was brilliant. I would recommend anyone to go do a human design reading, because it is very fascinating. Her name is Penelope. I'm going to actually tag her because she's awesome and she does a really great job. She's based in London. She does online readings too, though. It's very fascinating. She's actually from Vienna as well. She's Viennese, but she lives in London.
Vienna connection.
Yeah, all these Viennese people. Yeah, but let's get back on track. So basically, it's a very loaded topic, and rather than really go into it more and explain it all, I would rather spend my time with you today contemplating and digging deeper with one of the gene keys in particular.
Yeah.
And for that, I chose one that we have in common, which is the 25th gene key, or aka universal love.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we have it in very different placements in our charts. You have it in the pearl sequence, so the blue spheres, blue bubbles, and you have it specifically in the culture sphere. And I have it in the Venus sequence, so the red bubbles, and I have it in the IQ sphere.
Okay. Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Sorry if I
Don't
break
worry.
you. What does it mean, the IQ what does the IQ sphere and the culture sphere bubble, as we like to refer to them, mean?
Yeah. Basically, I can just read it out to you. So my sphere, the IQ sphere, relates to the third 7-year cycle. So from the age of 14 to 21. This is our mental development cycle. The shadow of this gene key governs the way in which we learn to use our mind to try and control the emotions and override the intuition. Does that make sense? Should I read that again? I feel like that was a lot of words.
Okay.
Hold on. As this is our mental development cycle, the shadow of this gene key governs the way in which you learn to use your mind to try and control your emotions and override your intuition. As you become aware of the pattern of this gene key, its controlling and stifling influence on your emotional life. So you can unlock its gift, and that will disable your primary emotional triggers, making you both less reactive and less provocative in all your relationships. And your IQ soars to encompass all possibilities in life when released from unconscious, narrow-minded, or opinionated thinking. The idea is that it really governs my emotional state, and you know that I can be very reactive.
When you said
and
where it said the bit about the reactiveness, and I can't remember exactly the words you used, but I was like, yeah, I see that. I was like,
yeah.
And
happens. These are like, if I'm contemplating and able to figure out the shadow, and the shadow of this gene key, specifically the 25th gene key, is constriction. I'm going to go into it more in a minute, then, kind of things will start making sense. But if I am able, or when I'm able to really get over that, then I will be able to also be less reactive, be less provocative, and be a lot calmer, specifically in relationships.
Mm.
So that's the way it manifests for me in the IQ sphere and the Venus sequence. For you, it's in your culture sphere, in the Pearl sequence, which is the top part of the chart. And mine is on the lower half of the chart. And the gene key of your culture shows you how you best fit into the social fabric of the world. So in your Pearl sequence, the shadow of this gene key directly blocks you from manifesting prosperity. So by working through the fear in the shadow, you can therefore open up a period of amazing growth in your life. The gift and the city, which are the higher frequencies, the ones you want to get to through the shadow. The gift and the city of your culture trigger the forces that catalyze your higher life purpose. They can also bring powerful new allies into your life to assist you in your purpose. Your culture also shows you how you are best designed to operate as part of a collectivity. It engenders material, emotional, and spiritual prosperity. So this is the exact same gene key that we both have, and it's the same idea behind the shadow and the gift and the city. But for you, it manifests much more in social fabrics and the way you grow and the way your life purpose, and it's very kind of more on a general platform, versus for me it's specifically in my relationships. It's more of a specific thing that I do in a specific situation. For you, it's a more general thing to overcome and to work through. Basically, when you work through the fear and the shadow of it, you're gonna
become
soar.
invincible. Maybe I should do that.
Yes. So let's figure it out. What is exactly the shadow here? The challenge to overcome. The shadow of the 25th gene key is called constriction. Constriction is the tightening of one's breath or body in response to challenging situations. It is a direct physical response to all types of fear, essentially the terror of death and non-existence.
Intense.
It is. And he uses very intense wording, and it's very it's a lot. That's why I want to go through it kind of slowly and just focus on the one right now, because it's a lot of information. I definitely have that. I know that I tense up so much. It's always my response to challenging situations is to really tense up, and it's very uncomfortable. And I guess it's a kind of freeze, fight, flight response a little bit as well. Fight or flight. But there's a freeze response too.
Yeah, I suppose it's part of the flight.
Yeah. I feel like you freeze a bit more than I do.
Yeah, I'm very good at freezing.
I definitely fight more. But I do also get very tight and very, very, my shoulders are always
it depends.
in pain.
It depends where in the social aspect there's a lot of fight in you, but when it comes to your relationships, there's a lot more of the freeze flight aspect.
Exactly. Which is exactly what we were talking about. The IQ sphere for me personally is specifically in my relationships, versus for you, it's much more in your day to day, and you definitely freeze more in your day to day than I do. And I only do it in my relationships. And that's where it's the same thing to overcome at the end of the day, but it manifests so differently that, it's really fascinating. But constriction is also obsessed with the material world, clings to things and people for security. So this grasping inevitably distorts and restricts the natural flow of love. And I definitely do that. I definitely cling on to a relationship, probably for longer than I should. And I think you like clinging on to your things a little bit, don't you?
Yeah.
And your people. we definitely have that as well. So that's also something to overcome and to see and to notice and to contemplate and to know when we're doing that. On a societal level, So this is when gene keys don't just become specifically for each human, but on a society-based level. Constriction is represented by border walls, territory wars, and attitudes about time and money that create a global field of tension and pressure. That's when the gene keys become very general, and that's when everyone should contemplate all of them, because they all relate to our society, the way we live, the way we function as humans. And the repressing of this natural fear creates a state of ignorance and inability to look at one's real pain. Reacting against this fear through anger creates a state of cold-hearted meanness projected at others in an attempt to avoid one's own suffering. So we're just reacting and anger and so much fear and being scared, and it becomes this thing that we put on everyone else just to not have to look at our own issues and sufferings and traumas.
It's always easier to push onto others and blame others than look at yourself.
Exactly. So that's the challenge. That's the low frequency. If you're living within that, it's definitely also the victimhood energy, and the idea is to contemplate that, to know when you're doing that, to understand that it's happening, to also sit with that uncomfortability sometimes, to really feel what it does to you, and that it's not serving you, it's not helping. This, like, the tightening of one's breath and body in response to challenges is not helping you. Once you kind of work through that, or once you understand that and where you do that and when you do that, and work through that, then you have this beautiful higher frequency, which is called the gift, so also known as the creative genius. But I like to think of it as the reward after having gone through and understood the shit of the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reward of the beauty behind all that really kind of negative things. But before I move on to that, did you want to say anything else about the shadow or constriction? Did you have anything else?
No, but I can see how it is very much implemented, because I also know you so well, how it's implemented in your life and how it's implemented in my life. And I think it's obviously, there needs to be a lot of willing to do the work to also arrive at the gift or the reward or the beauty of it. There's a lot of work that one has to do to get there. Yeah. Which absolutely, I suppose is in every part of life. It's always, if you want to have a good, positive, healthy outcome, there's a lot of shit and shadow using the today's terminology. Yeah. That you have to go through.
Absolutely. But once you do, there's beauty on the other side. And in this gene key, I'm just going to read it out because it's wonderful wording as well. Acceptance is the softening of one's reactive tendencies to avoid or recoil in the face of pain and suffering. So the gift is acceptance. And I'm just going to read that again because it's such a beautiful sentence. Acceptance is the softening of one's reactive tendencies to avoid or recoil in the face of pain and suffering. Acceptance begins by deepening the breath and allowing the physical sensations of what is happening in the present moment to simply exist. Acceptance becomes a calm optimism that acknowledges what is occurring while simultaneously breathing more loving awareness into the moment. Acceptance is able to walk without judgment of others and see the seed of love in all of humanity. By relaxing and accepting oneself in the present moment, love is able to flow more effortlessly to all beings. It's acceptance.
Oh. Which I feel like I also can't remember now, but I feel like I said that at the beginning as well. The kind of, you have to go through all the shit and the shadow to arrive somewhere and fully accept a situation, and only once it's accepted and you're kind of whole in yourself with the decision and the acceptance is there, that's when you can really move on and flourish.
Exactly.
Sounding a bit
It
too
is
woo-woo for myself, but not usually this
no, but it
woo-woo.
is. It is. Acceptance is like, it says it's a softening, right? There's so much softness in acceptance. And it's a calm optimism. I actually had a moment the other day, and we talked about the diagnosis a couple episodes ago, but the autism and stuff, it gets very overwhelmed very quickly. Sometimes it's okay, but a lot of the time I get very overwhelmed. I had a moment the other day where I wasn't really taking care of myself that day, and I didn't really see what was happening until it was too late, and I was already really like super overwhelmed,
Flustered,
and it was too much. And then what I did for myself though was like, I had to just sit on the side and just close my eyes and just breathe through my tummy. And it's funny because that sentence here is like, acceptance begins by deepening the breath and allowing the physical sensations of what is happening in the present moment to simply exist. And that's exactly how I best can overcome that overstimulated feeling. And it's just, I need to do that more in my relationships though. Definitely, because I get so reactive, and it's best to just breathe and just, you know, that calmness. That's when things can actually move and flow, and yeah, by relaxing in the present moment, love is able to flow more effortlessly to all beings. It's a good reminder for myself. Yeah. And for you as well, no?
Yeah, definitely.
Breathing.
Yeah.
I think it's why Kundalini yoga is so good for both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's good to remind ourselves to breathe properly.
Yeah. Find that groundedness.
Yeah. So the highest self, or the siddhi, the higher awareness of this gene key, the ultimate enlightenment, if you want to call it that, is universal love. The name of the gene keys, it's where you want to go. It's universal love. Universal love is the fundamental nature of reality and the vital life force that connects all beings and experiences throughout time and space. Universal love is the deep embrace of suffering as a part of the divine pattern. It is the radical ability to see humanity's struggle blossoming into the beauty and grace of compassionate understanding. It's embracing it all.
Yeah. Acceptance and embrace.
Yeah. Embracing the shadow, embracing the gift, and just embracing it as it comes, as acceptance comes. It's just all of it. And it's just love and beauty and grace. And it's such a beautiful gene key to move through from this tightening and this constriction to then
stress.
And then to like go into this radical ability to see humanity's struggle blossoming into the beauty and grace of compassionate understanding. It's wild. It's beautiful. Each gene key is kind of set up this way. So there's the shadow, the gift, and the siddhi, and each has its own wordings to it. And he has some beautiful wordings, and I've had to read it 1,000 times though, because it's so intense, the words he uses.
I think the words, yeah, definitely.
And I speak very well English, and I understand quite a bit.
Wow.
But it's not.
That just gave you away. I speak very well English. I speak English very well.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry. I speak English very well. Usually.
Does she?
Usually.
Except when she's recording a podcast.
It's funny that happened, because I was about to go, well, it's not my mother tongue. And I really gave it away there, didn't I? So it's something, it's what I'm trying to say is it's hard for me to grasp the words he uses and the sentences he kind of puts out there, because it is such heavy topics. I really have to reread it. And there's more out there on the internet that's not just from him, but also from other people wording it in their own ways. So sometimes it's easier to understand that. But yeah, that's the 25th gene key, universal love. There's a quote from him on this gene key, which again, it's heavy wording, and I'm gonna try my best to just do it slowly so it really sinks in. Maybe repeat it a little bit. But the quote goes like this: allowing is very powerful because it begins with the physical. Whatever we're experiencing in life, however hard, bring our awareness to our physicality, to the sensations and discomfort in our body. Never mind about our feelings or our thoughts. They'll come later. We begin with the physical. We just allow our body to feel what it feels. We just allow our body to feel what it feels. I think that's exactly what happened to me the other day, where I was just like, I just need to breathe through this. I just needed to allow it to just exist, whatever it is, but it just needs to accepting that it just is. And I definitely often don't do that, specifically in relationships. I fight it a lot, and I get very, I get very reactive. I fight it. I'm starting to accept it more, whatever it is. I'm just accepting it as it comes, or trying to. Yeah.
Taking the steps.
Yeah.
Starting the journey. Starting the journey is probably better. Taking this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe cut out taking the steps. Reminds me of like the alcohol.
No, I think it is about taking steps, though. I don't think that should be cut out. I think I totally agree with you. But sometimes it's also about just sitting in it, right? Obviously, it's about taking the steps. I think that's the journey is important too. But sometimes it's also just about sitting in it. And that's kind of what this gene key specifically is about. It's just sitting in it. Yeah. And for me specifically in a relationship and or in my relationships, and for you it's a bit of a bigger topic, but that acceptance will yeah.
Well, acceptance is the hard part in anything in life. If there's something that you struggle with, accepting the way that it is, I think can be quite
it's being
a challenge to do sometimes.
Yeah, and I think often acceptance goes hand in hand with also being kind to yourself. I know I can be very kind to myself in general, but I also know that in a relationship, I'm not always kind to myself. And I should be kinder to myself and more forgiving, which then leads to the acceptance of it, I think. And I think that you can definitely be more kind to yourself in general. I definitely see that.
But where's the fun in that?
Well, just beauty. Maybe it doesn't sound very fun, but I think it will be very, very fun once you do. I think you can be way more fun with yourself. Because if you forgive yourself, you can laugh about it. And if you can laugh about it, you can accept the way it is, and that can be fun. It's not all dead serious either, right?
Talking about dead seriousness, I think ever since you explained what gene keys are and you showed me my chart and read everything, I've always thought of this, and it came back to me whilst you were talking. It makes me kind of think of a board game that you start off in the shadow and you have to fight your way through the shadow, and then you receive a gift, and through the gift, you arrive at the city, and then there's and I've always, since, I never really said it to you, but yeah, there's always been this aspect of like, yeah, it's a little board game. The way you talk about it.
That's amazing. I actually love that metaphor. I think that's how anyone should see it. I mean, obviously there's a heaviness and a seriousness to it, sure. But I think it's really important to also see that lightheartedness and that challenge and that kind of the funness of it. Because there was this incredible priest in Bali when I was there about 6 months ago, and he laughed, but like belly laughed at so much, and then was in the same sentence was able to say things that were so fundamentally true and heavy and beautiful, and at the same time he like had this childish belly laugh that you just couldn't resist but laugh with him. And that's what he was like, that's what it is though. This shit doesn't have to be only bad and horrible and deep and heavy and scary. It should, and you know, it can be very light. And that board game is a great way of expressing that. I love that. Because I feel like the chart kind of looks a bit like a board game too, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then there's the bubbles and it just made it. I didn't think about like when you were kind of talking about it, and then the gift and the city, I was like, hold on. That made me, the first time you showed me, I was like, yeah, I'll kind of see this board game out of it.
That's brilliant. Definitely. And the game of the mini game of the 25th gene key is you moving from constriction into acceptance and eventually reaching the goal, or the end game of universal love. And each gene key kind of has their own thing with it.
Their own journey.
Yeah. Their own journey. Exactly. Absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I'm not going to go into, I don't want to overload everyone, and I don't want to overload us with information. So I feel like this is kind of a good way to come to an end and close it. But I did want to say one last thing, which is if you do have a chart in front of you, and if you are looking at your own chart, you will see that in each sphere, in each bubble, there's the gene key. So in our case, it's the 25. And then there's always a dot and a number. So it's a 25.4 for me personally, and in your sphere it's 25.1, and it's the line. And again, I don't have the knowledge of it yet, but it again makes it a little bit more specific of your specific journey with this gene key. Do you want to go into it a little bit, or maybe just for one of us? Are you interested, or do you feel like it's a bit much and we should maybe
let's go into it, but depending on the length of the episode, we can also cut it out.
Okay. Should I just do one?
Yeah.
Would you like me to do yours, or should I do mine?
I think let's do yours, because I find yours a bit more.
Okay, mine's actually a little shorter.
Okay, perfect.
I just read the title of it and it made me laugh. Okay, so my gene key 25 is in the sphere of IQ, and I have the line, so I have 25.4. So I have line 4. In this case,
hold on, can I just ask?
Yes,
one
of
thing?
course.
What do the lines? If it's a line 4, how many lines are there?
There's 6, I believe.
Okay, so you can have from 1 to 6.
If I have it right in my head, I think it should go from 1 to 6. And then depending on what sphere it is in and with what gene key it correlates, it means slightly different things.
This is like the extended version of
this. Is super extended, exactly. This is very much the complicated extended version of the board game. But that's why I'm just going to give one example, and I'll just talk about mine, and then we can kind of leave it there. I actually have the line 4 5 times.
Okay.
So it's the one that comes up the most in mine. Each time they have a bit of a slightly like once it's called server, once it's called charity. I think it's love and communication, and then it's frigidity and romance. And this specific one with the 25th in the sphere of IQ for me is the influential mind. And in parentheses, and that's why I actually started laughing when I saw the title at first, it goes inflexible. And I'm like, why are you like so truthful? It's
why do I resonate with this?
I'm like, oh, anyway, I'll read it. It's a short paragraph. I'll read it out and then we'll go into it. The influential mind has a great capacity to understand and communicate a specific message or passion in a beautiful and heartwarming way. Aww. You may find that you are drawn to devote your time and energy to specific areas of focus. Your deep love for life can have an infectious and magnetic influence on those around you. Yet, this same devoted focus can also become inflexible and unwilling to change its perspective to meet another's viewpoint. So this is way too true. For anyone who knows me, I'm guessing you're just laughing your head off right now. But it's beautiful because I agree. Like, I love, I have a lot of passion. I feel like I try to communicate things in a heartwarming way. That devotion to my time and energy into specific areas of focus is kind of reflective of like the autism too, isn't it? It's that hyper focus of autism and ADHD. In the more classic scientific world. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have told me how infectious I could be or how magnetic I sometimes am. And I love hearing that. And it's really nice. I think it's a very positive thing. And then it can become a very negative thing where I do become very rigid. And there was a time where I was like asking you this. And then I even went to my therapist at the time and I was like, this is something I need to talk about. I don't know. Was it the word controlling?
I can't remember.
Because we had a whole conversation about it in Paris as well. And I was starting to like freak out because I was like, I
think is it about when I kept moving the dishwasher, like the basket for the cutlery, I kept moving it around and you got very stressed by it.
Yes, absolutely. I hate that kind of stuff. My boyfriend came to visit me last week and he did the exact same thing. He moved the cutlery basket of the dishwasher to the other side and I don't know why. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And it's probably, again, like in the more scientific world, it could be the autism that's very rigid, very like hard and difficult with change and sometimes even unwilling and very rigid also to seeing other people's perspective, right? It's definitely something I can work on. I know that. And I think I've gotten better. I guess I also like now kind of question like to what point do I need to be that not obviously I should always be willing to understand someone else. That willingness should always be there. But to what point am I just inflexible? And like, where is that line of me just being annoyingly rigid and someone else maybe just not able to accommodate the things that I need and want? I don't know if that makes sense. And maybe that's just wishful thinking. And I don't know if, yeah.
I think it's part of the journey as well, right?
It is. It definitely is.
Accepting the...
Yeah.
I mean, I know when it came to this dishwasher story, I think at the beginning when I first realized that it would stress you too much, it was kind of a game to me. I was like, how far can I push her? How far? And then at some point, I think I saw how like upset you got by it. And I was like, I've always made a point of putting it back in the right place. And then I think also at some point, my boyfriend, he was there and we were still living together and he put it back in the wrong place. And I was like, no, you have to put it in the other place because otherwise... Mercedes is gonna lose it. And he was like, wait, what? I was like, don't ask, just do it. And he was like, okay.
This is the question, right? Like, how fucking ridiculous is it of me, right, to freak out that way for such a really tiny and super unimportant thing? And if it really bothers me that much, I could have just put it in the place that I want it, right? Rather than other people having to bend. No, of course. And it's the acceptance of it as well for me to like feel, okay, I sit in that discomfort of this is kind of shitty right now. I don't like this. And just accepting the fact that it does that to me. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, look, I've gone a long way since that time in Paris, which is a couple years ago, because my boyfriend did this in my house the other day and changed it from one side to the next. And I don't even know I don't even think I've changed it back. It bothered me and I was like, why would he do that? And then I was like, I've moved on with my life and, I'm more inflexible in other ways.
But now are you always gonna put it back in that place, or next time you empty the dishwasher, will you put it back?
Well, yeah, that is the question. I've
Let
already
us know.
thought about changing it, so and putting it back on the other side. I don't know. Yeah, it's these small things sometimes, but I think I can also be very inflexible in much bigger things, and those are really the ones to look out for and to keep in mind. Because my very specific focus can become a very rigid and inflexible thing, which can be a negative thing sometimes. Yeah, there you go. So that's line 4 for me specifically in the 25th gene key. Again, it's a lot of information. Maybe we're going to do another one at some point. Once I've gotten a bit more of an understanding, we'll do another episode about it. The gene keys in general are just so fascinating, and I haven't gotten the book yet, actually. I would really like to, so that's my next step, is to get the book as well.
What's the book called?
He has multiple. So there is the Gene Keys, Embracing Your Higher Purpose, which I think is like the general one where all 64 gene keys are in it. And then there is the 64 Ways, which are the personal contemplations from Richard Rudd. So it's his personal comments and interpretations into the 64 gene keys. I actually asked my Kundalini yoga teacher, because this is through her I really got into the gene keys, and I asked her which book I should start with, and she just goes, both. Just get both at the same time, I guess. Just all of it at once. And yeah, I guess you can even see it as a kind of a Bible situation, right? Kind of go through these different gene keys and contemplate on them. And
well, if you follow the philosophy, it's always good to have a reference book, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. But again, it's so much, and if you really do, like, don't get discouraged by the amount, like the mountains and mountains of information. Try to just focus small on your personal chart, on your own little things.
Like what resonates.
What resonates with you, where you're like, ooh, okay, yeah, maybe there's a change that can happen here, or okay, there's a learning process that can happen there. Slowly make your way through them. That's what I've been doing. I've known about these, and I've known about my chart, and I've started talking to Anais about this. I think it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, I kept thinking it was a person.
Yeah. So each in their own timeline. And eventually you'll figure out what they actually mean for yourself and in general. I think that's it for today. I think we'll leave it there. That was a lot of information, for all of us. And my mum is coming over for a matcha soon, so that's perfect timing.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
send her my
I
love.
will. I wish you a wonderful day. I wish everyone else a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful week ahead.
Yeah, if you have any questions, leave us a comment.
We got our Instagram page up and running. Cherie, it's a process. Yeah. Come and follow us. All right.
Yeah, take care.
Wishing everyone a wonderful week.
See you next week.
And yeah, lots of love.
See you soon.